Hello, Dr. Roger Romer, Advanced Neurospinal Solutions. One of my patients asked, where do emotions come from? We tend to feel like they come from inside of our body, and I don't discount the possibilities, particularly from the heart area, because you have a part of your nervous system that is within your heart, that you may get some feelings from that area. But generally, when we talk about emotions, we talk about some areas that are very clearly demarcated. One is called the amygdala. Now, when we look at the brain here, we can actually take it and divide it into two parts, the right and the left. And we look at within the brain itself, underneath the outside part, we have what's called the basal ganglia. This is the cortex itself. This is the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, the temporal lobe, and the occipital lobes. Deep inside of here, you've got an area called the basal ganglia, and we're gonna represent it with dashes because it's deep inside, and it's got the putamen and the caudate, which makes a horn and comes out to the side here. And right at the end here is called the amygdala. The amygdala is where the baby emotions come from, where you're really happy or really sad or really mad, and we don't have hardly any control of it, but it's a seat of emotions. And so that is one of those areas. The limbic brain itself is more on the inside. This is the corpus callosum. This is the left brain, left cortex here. This is the connection between the left and the right. And then this area right in here is where that limbic brain is. And it goes actually back beyond the frontal lobe here. And that has to do with the neurology of emotions along with the amygdala. And it has a connection to the other thing that relates to emotions. We'll write down amygdala, to limbic lobe, and 3, the hypothalamus. Okay, the hypothalamus, call it the HPA axis. Now the hypothalamus is the area of the brain that monitors our blood, and it also gives us things, releasing factors and other things to give us hormones. That's very important to understand that some of the feelings are neurological and they relate also to movement, but some of them relate to hormones. When we can't do something, let's say we have a goal neurologically to get something done, we can only take it so far with neurology, and then we may need to dump some juice in it, a lot like driving that hot car. It can go 110 miles an hour, but then it's got this switch over here that we flip on called nitrous oxide. We flip that on and immediately we're up to 200 miles an hour. And that's what hormones are. It can jack up the metabolism and other activities to a much higher level than the brain can actually take it. And so the hypothalamus and the HPA axis is what dumps those hormones in, and that is part of what you're feeling. When you feel a happy feeling, you're getting a neuroendocrine cocktail. What does that mean? A neuro brain endocrine hormone cocktail, and it's decided what it needed in order to make you feel those happy feelings. Those happy feelings are very healthy to you. You imagine laughing causes you to feel very happy and causes a neuroendocrine cocktail that is very restorative, very, very healthy. You also dump in neuroendocrine cocktails that are very adverse and bad for you. We talk a lot about that in here in terms of controlling those neuroendocrine cocktails, driving them, getting control of them, because most of my patients, when they come to me, they have chronic problems, chronic inflammatory processes, scoliosis, and no energy. And so we're teaching them how to drive those systems in a positive way to not just get recovery, but to get higher and higher levels of health and function. And so when we talk about emotions, we're talking about the amygdala, the limbic lobe and the hypothalamus through the HPA axis or the hormonal system. Thanks.